I lost my leg to bone cancer when I was 10 years old. And I remember that first summer, after my last chemotherapy treatment, after I'd finally beaten cancer, all I wanted to do was just play in the water with my friends. But I was shocked to realize that my prosthesis wasn't waterproof. And this was the only prosthesis that my insurance would cover. So my parents quickly wrote into insurance to see if we might be able to get me a waterproof prosthesis. But the claim was immediately denied, saying that having access to a prosthesis that was waterproof was a convenience item for an amputee. As I got into middle school and high school, I started playing sports competitively. And with this added activity, my prosthetic foot kept breaking down. So my parents looked at me again and said, "Nicole, let's see if we can get you one of those running blades," the same running blades that I had seen all over the media with our Paralympians and our veterans coming home from war. But again, the claim was denied, saying that having access to a prosthesis built to run was not medically necessary. But I didn't let this stop me, because being an athlete was a core part of my identity, and it was something I loved to do. And so I started setting my goals even higher. I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and triathlons, and I even started coming in first in my age group. But with this added training and these extra miles, my rest of my body started to overcompensate for my prosthesis, and I was left with debilitating back pain. After 16 years of being told no, I had finally had enough. And that's when I realized I wasn't the only one, that there were countless other amputees just like me, 2 million amputees in the United States, who were also systematically being denied access to the appropriate prosthetic technology to be physically active and to just live our lives. And that's when I realized that I needed to do something about it, and that I wanted to help be a voice for change. And so I did what any millennial would do. I quit my job, started an Instagram account, and decided to take on a 1,500-mile triathlon from Seattle to San Diego to raise awareness, swimming, biking, and running for 2 months. I recruited my mom, my partner Natalie, and my friend Kathleen, and we called our journey Forrest Stump. I knew I had the athleticism to make it to the finish, but the biggest question was whether or not my only prosthesis would survive the journey. Our journey didn't start out according to plan. The first 5 days, Seattle at that time had overcome this major heat wave. We were biking 100 miles a day in 100-degree weather. Then we got to the Columbia River Gorge, where we were scheduled to swim across, and the Eagle Creek forest fires had taken over, but we decided to swim it anyway. And then when we got to the Oregon coast, as we were going 30 miles per hour downhill, my partner Natalie slammed on her left-hand brake, went end over end, landed on her shoulder, and into the emergency room. Despite separating her shoulder, she was back on the bike in 10 days. Then we finally got into a groove as a team, and we ran through the redwood forest. I swam underneath the Golden Gate Bridge in a swim called the Shark Fest swim. We biked over the Bixby Bridge in Big Sur, California. We scaled nearly 65,000 feet of elevation. Mile after mile, our bodies got stronger and stronger, but my prosthesis got weaker and weaker, to the point in Southern California where it finally broke. I was devastated, but I wasn't new to disappointment. Once again, my prosthesis had not lived up to my dreams. Luckily, a manufacturer came to the rescue and donated a new one so that we continue the journey to San Diego. And that's when the most incredible moment of my life happened. I was called up on stage at the Challenge Athletes Foundation's biggest event of the year, and they donated me my very own running blade. This was something that I had waited 16 years of my life to finally have access to. And as you can imagine, I was in tears, my family was in tears, and in that moment, as grateful as I was, I knew that no amputee should have to go to that length to prove that they deserve access to a limb. And so since then, I've founded Forrest Stump as a nonprofit advocacy organization. I've taken my story to DC to meet with policy makers. We've filmed a documentary. And my ultimate goal is to change legislation so that all amputees have access to the technology they need to be active and to live their best life. Thank you so much. You can follow me on Instagram @RunsForrestStump.